All right, let's take a look at the practice test. For the instructions, we're asked to find the vertex form and state the vertex. All right, for the first problem, we have f of x equals 3x squared minus 24x plus 38. So the idea is we're going to start with something in this form. So f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is your constant. And we want to put this into what we call vertex form. So this is f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared and then plus k. So there's lots of reasons to do this. One reason is it's going to help us when we go to graph parabolas. This is going to be in the next section. But the idea is that once you put it into vertex form, by simple inspection, you can get the vertex. So here, if I have it in this form, I can say the vertex is going to occur at h comma k. So this h right here, that's the x coordinate. This k right here, that's the y coordinate. We want to do one example where we use completing the square, although it's very tedious, just so that you get some practice with that. You might be asked to do that on a test. And then after that, we'll just go with the vertex formula, which is a lot easier to use. So to get things started, let me just write this. So f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 24x plus 38. The first thing you want to do is group your variable terms together. So I'm just going to put some parentheses around these guys right here. And then you want to make sure that when you're completing the square, the coefficient of x squared is 1. In this case, it's not. It's a 3. So what we're going to do is factor this out. And I'll go ahead and say that we have f of x is equal to, pull out the 3. And so inside you'd have x squared right there, and then minus what's going to go right here. Well, just think about 24 divided by 3 is going to be 8. So we'll put 8, and then we have the x there. You can check that. 3 times x squared is 3x squared, and then you have minus and minus, and then 3 times 8x, that would be 24x. So this is what we want. So then after that, you have your plus 38. So hopefully you remember how to complete the square. You're going to look at the coefficient for x raised to the first power. In this case, that's negative 8. You're going to cut it in half and then square it. So let's go ahead and say that we have negative 8 times 1/2. And then we're going to square that. So this is equal to negative 8 times 1/2 is negative 4. That would be squared. This would give me 16. So this is the tricky part. Because we're working inside of the parentheses here, we're just going to add it and subtract it inside the parentheses so that we don't end up doing something illegal. So let's go ahead and say that we have f of x is equal to 3 times the quantity x squared minus 8x plus 16 minus 16. So plus 16 minus 16 is 0. I have not done anything illegal. Then on the outside of the parentheses, I have plus 38. Okay, here is the part where it's very easy to make a mistake. What you want to do is realize that this part right here is a perfect square trinomial. That is going to factor into x minus 4 quantity squared. But the problem is I have this extra minus 16 here. So what I want to do is move that outside of the parentheses so that these guys are grouped together. So what you'd want to do is distribute the 3 to the negative 16 to move it outside. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we have f of x is equal to 3 times the quantity x squared minus 8x plus 16. You can close that down, but again, distribute the 3 to the negative 16 there. So let's go plus 3 times negative 16, and then you have plus 38. So now we'll write f of x is equal to 3 times, this right here again will factor into x minus 4 quantity squared. So x minus 4 quantity squared. Then you're going to have 3 times negative 16, that's negative 48. So minus 48, and then plus 38. To finish this up, you're going to do negative 48 plus 38, that's going to be negative 10. So let's say that we have f of x is equal to 3 times the quantity x minus 4 squared, and then minus 10. So if we match this up with the form that we talked about earlier, the f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. Well, in this case, you can say that your h is just going to be 4, right? This matches perfectly. X and x, minus and minus, and then this h here is just going to be 4. So h equals 4. K is equal to, again, you can go plus negative to make this match. So k is just going to be negative 10. So I'm just going to go back to this being a minus here. But you would have h being equal to 4 and k being equal to negative 10. So for the vertex, if you want that, it's going to occur at 4 comma negative 10. Because again, it's h comma k. H is 4, k is negative 10. So that's all we're really doing here. I'm going to erase this, and we're going to do this problem again, but just using the vertex formula, you're going to see that's a lot quicker. All right, let's go back up here. and I've erased everything, and we're just going to start the problem over. So when you think about the vertex, again, this occurs at h comma k. And when you think about the vertex form, you have your f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. So the idea with the vertex formula is that you can find h as being equal to negative b over 2a. This negative out in front causes a lot of sign mistakes. So a lot of times what I'll suggest to somebody is put the negative out in front and wrap this with parentheses, and that will help to stop sign mistakes. Because what ends up happening is if you plug in a negative somewhere there, a lot of times you disregard this negative and you end up with the wrong answer. Then when you think about your k, it's just equal to f of negative b over 2a. So you could really just say it's f of h. That's a quick way to put it down. I like this notation a little bit better. So basically you just go through and calculate your h and your k. You can plug it in there and then plug it in here, and you can get your a from right there. Again, your a value here is going to be the coefficient for x squared, so that's just 3. Your b value here is the coefficient for x to the first power, so that is going to be negative 24. You don't really need the c here. It's 38, but you don't need it for this formula. So what we're going to do is just plug in. So we can erase this a here and go ahead and put the 3 there. So that part's done. We need to figure out the h and the k. So let's put h as being equal to, again, the negative of, what is b? b is negative 24. And then this is over 2 times a. a is 3, so this is 2 times 3, which is going to be 6. Let's just write that in there now. And so what is negative 24 divided by 6? That is negative 4. So this is equal to the negative of negative 4, which we know is positive 4. So our h is going to be equal to positive 4. So let me erase that and put this as a 4. You can get rid of this and put this as a 4 here. And now k would be equal to f of, what is h? That's 4. So f of 4 is what we need to calculate. Let me get rid of this, and let me throw a 4 in there so that part's done. Let's go f of 4. This would be equal to 3 times, you'd have 4 squared, like that, minus 24 times 4, and then plus 38. Let me fix that. So let me slide down. I'll come back up in a moment. 4 squared is 16. So let's say this is equal to 3 times 16. And then minus, you'd have your 24 times 4, and then plus 38. Well, what is 3 times 16? That is going to be 48. And then minus 24 times 4, that is 96. And then plus 38. Well, 48 minus 96, that's going to be negative 48. And then you have plus 38. So this becomes negative 10. So your k, which again is f of 4, is going to be negative 10. So over here, again, you can go plus negative 10 or just write minus 10. And then right here, let's put negative 10. All right, so the vertex again is h comma k, so 4 comma negative 10 in this case. And then the vertex form, you have f of x is equal to 3 times the quantity x minus 4 squared minus 10. All right, for problem 2, we have f of x equals x squared minus 18x plus 91. So once again, we're trying to find our f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. So this is the vertex form, and you also want to find the vertex. So the vertex is going to occur at h comma k. We put a little border here. First off, what is a? A is the coefficient of x squared. In this case, it's going to be a 1. So let's put a 1 there. Then what is b? B is the coefficient of x. So in this case, because you have minus 18x, you could really write that as plus negative 18x. So let's say b is negative 18. Now you don't need c, so don't worry about this. Again, your formula, this is something you just want to memorize or maybe write down for your notes. Your h is equal to negative b over 2a. But again, I always put the negative out in front of some parentheses so I don't make a sign mistake. So the negative of b over 2a. So what is b here? Again, that's negative 18. Let's just replace that. What is a here? A is 1. So 2 times 1 is just 2. So this would end up giving me the negative of negative 18 divided by 2. That's negative 9. The negative of negative 9 is positive 9. So h is positive 9. So let me put that right here. I'll replace that right here. And I'll replace that right here. We already know what a is. A is 1. So let me erase that. You can either put a 1 there or just leave it off. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it off. And now we just need to figure out what is k. Well, k is f of h. h is 9. So f of 9 is equal to what? So let's do f of 9 down here. This is equal to, you would have 9 squared. So 9 squared minus 18 times 9, and then plus 91. Let me slide down here a little bit and say this is equal to 9 squared is 81. And then minus 18 times 9, that's 162, and then plus 91. 1. So this right here, 81 minus 162, that's negative 81. And then you have plus 91. And so this is equal to positive 10. So f of 9, we can erase this and put 10. Let's just erase this and put k is equal to 10. So we can erase this here and put 10, and then erase this here and put 10. So your vertex is going to occur at 9, 10, and then your vertex form is f of x is equal to the quantity x minus 9 squared plus 10. All right, let's take a look at problem 3. We have f of x equals 2x squared minus 8x plus 10. Once again, we want f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. The vertex is going to occur at h, k. So what do we know at this point? We know that a is equal to, it's the coefficient of x squared, so that's 2. B is equal to, it's the coefficient for x. So again, you could write plus negative 8 there. So let's put negative 8. Again, don't worry about c, we don't need it. And so if you want your h, this is equal to the negative of b over 2a. Again, I'm just going to wrap this in parentheses so I don't make a sign mistake. So the negative of b over 2a. And then your k, if you want to write that now, that's f of h. So what is b? B is negative 8. So you're going to plug in a negative 8 there. What is a? A is 2. So 2 times 2, let's just write that now. That's going to be 4. Negative 8 over 4 is negative 2. So this would be the negative of negative 2, which of course is positive 2. So h is 2. So I'm going to put a 2 there, and then I'm going to put a 2 there. Okay, let's get rid of this. And we can just write that h is 2. And k is f of h. So that means it's f of 2. So you're just going to take f of 2 and say this is equal to 2 times, you're going to have 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 10. This is equal to, 2 squared is 4, so this would be 2 times 4 minus 8 times 2 plus 10. 2 times 4 is 8, and then minus 8 times 2 is 16, and then plus 10. Well, 8 minus 16 is negative 8, so you have negative 8 plus 10, which is positive 2. So let me get rid of this, and we'll say k is also equal to 2. The a is going to be 2. So let me go ahead and replace that now. And the k is going to be 2. So let me replace that here, and then also here. So your vertex form is f of x equals 2 times the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 2. And then your vertex is going to occur at 2, 2. All right, for problem 4, we have f of x equals the negative of x squared plus 4x plus 4. All right, let's come down here and write that we want f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. Then we want the vertex, which is going to be at h, k. So at this point, we know that a is the coefficient for x squared. You have a negative out in front. I would write this as negative 1 times x squared. So the coefficient for x squared is negative 1. So a is negative 1. And then b is the coefficient for x to the first power. So in this case, that's 4. Your h is given as the negative of, you have b over 2a. Now, b in this case is going to be 4. And a in this case is going to be negative 1. So let me write this is negative 1 like that, and close that down. So this becomes the negative of, well, if you think about 2 times negative 1, that's negative 2. So this would be 4 over negative 2, and 4 over negative 2 is negative 2. So this is the negative of negative 2, which is 2. So h is going to be positive 2. Okay, let me get rid of this and put a 2 here. So let me fill some stuff in. So a is negative 1. You could put negative 1 there or just put a negative, whatever you want to do. And then h is 2. So let's just plug that in there. And then also we're going to plug that in there. Now k is equal to f of h. In this case, h is going to be 2. So it's equal to f of 2. So let's figure out what is f of 2. And this equals, here's where you have to be very careful. This is negative 1 times x squared. So negative 1, let me put times, your x is going to be 2, and that's squared. If you were to plug in a negative 2 squared here, that would be wrong. You don't want positive 4 as your answer. You want negative 4 because it's negative 1, or you could say the negative of whatever x is being squared. The x is 2. It's not negative 2. So it's 2 being squared, and then you want the negative of that. So pay close attention to what you're doing there. So then we have plus 4 times 2, and then you have plus 4. And so this is going to be equal to, again, 2 squared is done first. That's 4. So let me write negative 1 times 4 like that, and then plus 4 times 2, and then plus 4. And this equals negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, and then plus 4 times 2 is 8, and then plus your 4. Negative 4 plus 8, that's positive 4. and then plus 4, and of course that's going to be 8. So your k here, which again is f of 2, that's going to be 8. So let me erase this and put 8, and then let me erase this and put 8. So the vertex form here is going to be f of x is equal to the negative of the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 8. The vertex is going to occur at 2, 8. All right, let's take a look at problem 5. So we have f of x is equal to 1/3 x squared minus 4x plus 21. So we want to find f of x is equal to a times the quantity, x minus h squared, and then plus k. So this is the vertex form. And we also want to find the vertex. So the vertex is going to occur at h, k. So a here is equal to what? It's the coefficient of x squared, so that's going to be 1/3. B here is equal to what? It's the coefficient for x, so here that's going to be negative 4. And then your h is equal to the negative of b over 2a. So your h would be equal to the negative of, what is b? B is negative 4, and then over 2 times a. So this is 2 times 1/3. So this equals the negative of, you have negative 4, let's write that as negative 4 over 1, and then over 2 times a third is 2/3. Let me make this fit here. So this would be equal to, we'd have the negative of, I'm going to write negative 4 over 1 times the reciprocal of this. So this is 3/2. And let me close that down. So this would be equal to, this would cancel with this and give you a 2 up here. So negative 2 times 3, that's negative 6. So this would be the negative of negative 6, which is 6. So that's your h. Let me go back up, and we're just going to say that this right here is positive 6, and I'll replace that right here, and I'm going to replace that right here. Now your a is 1/3, so let me go ahead and write that in right there. Okay, when we talk about the k, this is f of h, and h in this case is 6, so it would be f of 6. So what is that going to be? Let me come back up. So f of 6 would be equal to 1/3, and then times your 6 squared, and then minus 4 times 6, and then plus 21. So let me do this on this page here so we have room. So 6 squared would be 36. So this would be equal to 1/3 times 36, and then minus 4 times 6, and then plus 21. So 1/3 times 36, that's the same thing as taking 36 and divided by 3. That's going to be 12. So 12, and then minus 4 times 6 is 24, and then plus 21. So 12 minus 24 is negative 12, and then plus 21, this is going to be positive 9. So coming back up, this right here, this f of 6 would be positive 9. So let me erase this and erase this. And so the vertex form is f of x equals 1/3 times the quantity x minus 6 squared plus 9. And then the vertex occurs at 6, 9. All right, for problem 6, we have f of x is equal to negative 18x squared minus 144x minus 279. So again, we want to figure out the vertex form. So f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. We also want to figure out the vertex. So this is going to occur at h, k. So looking at what we have here, we know that a is the coefficient of x squared. In this case, that's negative 18. Then your b is going to be the coefficient for x to the first power. So in this case, that's going to be negative 144. And then your h is equal to the negative of b over 2a. And let me just write that h is equal to the negative of, your b here is negative 144. And then over 2 times a, your a is negative 18. Okay, so this is the negative of, you have your negative 144 over 2 times negative 18, that is negative 36. So this would be equal to the negative of negative 144 over negative 36, that's positive 4. So we want the negative of 4, which is just going to be negative 4. So let's come back up and write this as negative 4. So let me replace this with negative 4. And this one right here, again, it's a little bit tricky. You're going to have minus a negative 4, which is plus 4. So you could write minus a negative 4 if you want, or you could just write plus 4. That's what I tend to do. So that's really up to you. It's going to be personal preference. It's correct either way. Then for your a, that's going to be negative 18. So you can put negative 18 right there. Let me make that a little bit better. Okay, let's figure out k now. So k, remember, is f of h. So we can say that k is equal to f of negative 4, since h is negative 4. And so what is f of negative 4? So f of negative 4 would be equal to, this would be negative 18, and then times, you have this negative 4 being squared, and then minus, you have 144, and then times negative 4, and you have minus 279. So this would be equal to negative 4 being squared. Again, the negative 4 is wrapped in parentheses. That's positive 16. So this is negative 18 times 16, and then minus 144 times negative 4, and then minus 279. Okay, so this is equal to negative 18 times 16. That is negative 288. Then for this one, we can just say this is plus negative, and then just go negative 144 times negative 4. That's going to be positive 576. Let me make this better here. And then you have minus 279. So this is equal to negative 288 plus 576 is going to give me 288. And then you have minus 279. So this would be equal to 9. So coming back up here, k again is equal to f of negative 4, which is going to be positive 9. So let's erase this and put a 9, and let's erase this and put a 9. So f of x equals negative 18 times the quantity x plus 4 squared plus 9. That's the vertex form. And then the vertex occurs at negative 4 comma 9. All right, for problem 7, we have f of x is equal to negative 2x squared plus 9. So this one looks a little bit odd because you don't have your bx term. In other words, when you look at f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, well, in this case, you could really rewrite this and say f of x is equal to negative 2x squared plus 0x plus 9, if you want to match this up. So that's going to allow you to use your formula. Let me get rid of this. And you can just work off of this. Remember that your a is equal to the coefficient for x squared. In this case, that's negative 2. Your b is equal to the coefficient for x. In this case, that's 0. So we're going to put 0 there. And then your h is equal to the negative of, you have your b over 2a. Well, what's going to happen here is that b is 0. So 0 divided by something that's not 0, the denominator would not be 0 here, you would get 0. So you can just say h is 0. You can skip all of that and say h is 0. Then if you want k, that's going to be f of h, so f of 0. So what is f of 0? F of 0 is equal to negative 2 times 0 squared plus 9. Well, 0 squared is 0. 0 times negative 2 is 0. So really, this is just going to be 9. So k is 9. Okay, so we have all the information we need. So the vertex form again is f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. The vertex occurs at h comma k. So we know h is 0. So let me erase that and put a 0 in there. I'm going to put in a 0 there. And we know that k is 9. So let me put in a 9 there, and let me put in a 9 there. And then a is negative 2, so let me put that in there. X minus 0 is just x. So really, you could write this, let me scooch this down, by saying f of x is equal to negative 2 x squared plus 9. Now, some teachers want you to write it like this to emphasize the h here is 0. So that's really up to your teacher. But again, this is going to be something that's personal preference if you're self-studying. So I'm just going to say that we have f of x equals negative 2. Let's go times the quantity x minus 0 squared plus 9, where f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 9. Either way you want to write it. And then the vertex here would be at 0 comma 9. All right, for problem 8, we have f of x is equal to negative 1/3 x squared plus 6x minus 32. Okay, so once again, we want to find f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. And we also need the vertex. So again, this is going to occur at h comma k. Let me put a little border here. And we'll say that a is equal to, again, it's the coefficient for x squared. In this case, this is negative 1/3. Your b is equal to, it's the coefficient for x, that's going to be 6. And then your h is equal to the negative of, again, your b over 2a. So h is equal to the negative of, for b, you have 6. This is over 2 times, for a, you have a negative 1/3. Okay, let me extend this a little bit better here. So this would be equal to the negative of, you have, let me write 6 as 6 over 1, and then over 2 times negative 1/3 would be negative 2/3. Let's close this down. So you're going to have the negative of 6 over 1 times the reciprocal of this, which is -3/2. So this would be equal to, if you think about this, the 6 would cancel with the 2 and give me a 3. 3 times -3 is -9. So this is the negative of -9, which equals 9. So your h here is going to be 9. So let's come back up and just say that this right here is 9. So I will replace this here and then also here. For your a, it's -1/3. So let me replace that right here. So -1/3. Okay, we need to figure out k. And again, when you think about k, this is equal to f of h. In this case, h is 9. So this is f of 9. So you would have f of 9 is equal to -1/3, and then times 9 squared, and then plus 6 times 9, and then minus 32. So this is equal to -1/3, and then times, you have 9 being squared. So this is 81, and then plus 6 times 9, and then minus 32. So if we have -1/3 times 81, that's going to be -27, and then plus 6 times 9 is 54, and then minus 32. So this equals -27 plus 54, that's going to be 27, and then you have minus 32. So this is equal to -5. So k is going to be -5. So let me replace that here. And again, you can go plus -5, or you can just go -5. Whatever you want to do. So this is your vertex form. F of x equals -1/3 times the quantity x minus 9 squared minus 5. And the vertex occurs at 9, -5. All right, for problem 9, we have f of x equals 10x squared plus 6. So once again, we want f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So that's the vertex form. And then we want the vertex, which is going to occur at h, k. Let's make that h better here. Let me put a little border. And what's our a in this case? A is going to be 10. What's our b in this case? Again, when it sets up like this, it's going to be 0. You could write f of x is equal to 10x squared plus 0x plus 6 if you need to. So then what's your h? Well, in this scenario, your h is going to be 0. Because again, it's -b, and b here is 0, so the negative of 0 is still 0, over 2a. Let me actually write this out. If you put -b over 2a, again, you can do it like this. 0 divided by something that's not 0 will always give you 0. So this right here, I know it's going to be 0 in this scenario. And I know for k, it's just going to be this constant right here. Because if I plug in a 0 there, so f of 0, that's how you find k, it's f of h. So f of 0 there, plug in a 0 there, that's going to go away. You're just going to have 6. So when it sets up this way, there's really not a lot of work to do. So what you would do here is say the vertex is going to occur. Again, your h is going to be 0. And your k is going to be 6. So it's at 0, 6. Your a here is 10. Again, that's the coefficient for x squared. Your h here is 0. And then your k here is going to be 6. So again, depending on your teacher, they may want you to write it like this. So it's clear, this is h and this is k, your vertex form. But some teachers would prefer for you to simplify here. X minus 0 is just x. So you could really just write this by saying that the vertex form is the same as this. So f of x is equal to 10x squared plus 6. So if you're self-studying, you could write it like this or write it like this. Really, it's going to be up to you. All right, for problem 10, we have f of x is equal to -8x squared plus 80x minus 194. So let's write what we're trying to find. So again, the vertex form, f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared, and then plus k. So we also want the vertex. So that occurs at h, k. So let me put a little border here and put that our a is equal to, again, the coefficient for x squared, which is -8. Our b is equal to the coefficient for x, which is 80. And then our h is equal to the negative of b over 2a. So this one would be pretty easy. We can just do it here. So b is 80. Let's plug that in there. And then a here is -8. So this, let me slide down a little bit, and I'll just put the -8 right there. I'll extend that and close this down. 2 times -8 is -16. So this would be the negative of 80 over -16. So 80 over -16 would be -5. So this would be equal to the negative of -5, which of course is 5. And I'll just say that this is 5. So I'll erase this and put a 5, and I'll erase this and put a 5. For your a, that's -8. So let's put that like that. Now for your k, this is going to be equal to f of h. Again, h is 5, so f of 5. So what is f of 5 here? This is -8, and then times 5 squared plus 80 times 5 minus 194. I think we can do this here. So 5 squared is 25. You'd have negative 8 times 25, and then plus 80 times 5 minus 194. So what is negative 8 times 25? That's going to be negative 200. So you have negative 200, and then plus 80 times 5 is 400, and then minus 194. So this would be equal to negative 200 plus 400, that's 200. So you can have 200 minus 194. Let me fix these zeros here. And so 200 minus 194 is going to be 6. So K would be 6. So let me erase this, and I'll put a 6 here and a 6 here. So this is your vertex form. F of x equals negative 8 times the quantity x minus 5 squared plus 6. And the vertex occurs at 5, 6.